Hi, I'm Dr. George Yancey. Let's share some paradigms. The paradigm I share today concerns white progressives and caring about people of color. Now, when I decided to get into studying white progressives, there really was an overriding question that drove me. That question was this: why did white progressives care about racial issues? That's simple. Why do they care about racial issues? You see, understand why people of color care about racial issues. We're directly impacted by it. I even understand why white conservatives did not care about racial issues. They're not impacted by it. Why do white progressives care about it? Now, the obvious answer one could give, and the fair answer, is that they care about marginalized people, including people of color. That sounds fair, and I have no doubt that that's part of the answer. But I'm not satisfied to think that that's the entire answer. So I wanted to study white progressives as they attach racial issues, and that got me more and more interested in white progressives as a group. I'm going to show you a video. You may have seen it on Twitter or maybe Facebook or social media somewhere, but I'm going to show it to you if you haven't seen it. And these 35 seconds gives further insight to that question about white progressives and caring about people of color. Here, take a look at it.
But I have a kid. If I don't, and these people are having their children taken and their parents. What about my kids? I need their job.
Look at this.
That's what happens to my kids. I can't help you. This is what you can if you could just move off the way. You're not going to. How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing peaceful? No, it's not.
How do y'all as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work. I care so much.
So you don't care about stopping black people from going to work?
Look at this line that you guys are causing. I'm not causing no problems. I'm not trying to. We're just trying to leave.
I want to point out a couple of things about this video. First, this is a protest rally. It's a protest. I think it's an anti-ICE protest. I think there's a sign at the end showing no ICE or something like that. So that's the cause. You have this African-American woman who's on her way to work, it sounds like, with kids. She needs to keep her job. For her, this is about economic survival. It may not be that she doesn't care about immigration, but for her, it's about day-to-day feeding her kids, getting the money she needs, keeping her job. There was a distinct lack of sympathy on behalf of the two protesters, even after being pointed out that they are keeping an African American, one of the marginalized class, from doing what she needs to do. In fact, one was very dismissive, "Oh, work," as if that is nothing, which to me is an indicator that he is not in a position of desperation. People in a position of desperation do not blow off work. They realize how important it is to have a job and to be able to have the money to get by. These people clearly do not care about the plight of this woman. Their cause was more important than her plight, even as her plight as an African American woman who may be working a job that she doesn't want to work, but she has to. There may be racism that's behind all that. That did not matter. Their cause at hand is what mattered. And I think this gives a clue to the role of African Americans with white progressives. I did some research where I connected the racial attitudes of white progressives, the progressive racial attitudes of white progressives, to their animosity against conservative Christians. That suggests that it's not just about caring about people of color, it's also about a way of helping the enemies of their own enemies. If they perceive people of color as enemies of conservative Christians, then they're useful to support because they're in a battle against conservative Christians. But when it's inconvenient, when you have a black woman who's trying to go to her job and there's a rally for one of the causes of white progressives, their care suddenly melts away. Which makes me think that this care is at least to some degree transactional. Support our causes, we'll support you. Now, do African Americans always support the causes of white progressives? That may not be that clear. African Americans tend to be more religious than white progressives. There may be religious causes that they support that white progressives do not. They may not always support some of the more socially progressive stances they take on abortion and sexual minorities. African Americans are not going to always support the causes of white progressives. And in this isolated case, we see when the interest of an African American woman was put against the interest to protest against ICE, her concerns did not matter. This has some ramifications that we have to think about. As we saw in the last presidential election, some African Americans, particularly African American men, decided not to support the Democrat candidate. What happens when African Americans don't support the Democrats? One possibility is when they don't support the Democrats, the white progressives will not support them. There is a possible schism in today's Democratic Party between people of color and white progressives. And as the current Democratic Party has become more and more a party of white progressives, that type of progressive style, which could include some people of color who are progressives, but it's more of a style. As it's become more that type of party, it may become less of a home for people of color. I'm not saying they're going to run off to the Republican Party. That's not likely to happen that soon. While some of them may, I'm not saying that there's going to be this mass exodus to the Republican Party. But their support for Democrats may wane. If that happens, my prediction is that white progressives will no longer be interested in supporting the interests of people of color. This is a dynamic, a schism that bears watching. Does this share some paradigms? Paradigms about white progressives and paradigms about how they may perceive people of color. A challenging of the notion that it may not just be that they care about marginalized groups, but they have their own political interests. That if people of color serve, great. If they don't serve, then white progressives do not have to serve them. This is something worth talking about. Feel free to leave a comment. If you disagree with me, feel free to leave a comment. If this is something that's interesting to you, and you know other people will be interested in this, please tell them. Please leave a like. Consider subscribing, because this is the sort of material I want to create. And join the conversation. Go beyond our normal paradigms and look at things differently. Well, I hope you come back. We can shatter some more paradigms.